From the deepest reaches of the interwebs are two guys here to reveal the secret sauce in helping you develop multiple streams of internet cash flow. Share the knowledge without all the hype. It's the Internet Income Show.
Oh, I like that.
Now get ready for two regular dudes helping you become a smarter entrepreneur, get more out of life, and set you on the right path to becoming happily unemployable. Your host, Dr. Mike and Eric Louviere.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to episode 23 of the Internet Income Show. Thanks again for joining us. And if you want to catch any of our past podcasts, check out our archive section at internetincomeshow.com. Joining me today is Eric Louviere. Eric, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Dr. Mike. How are you?
Good. I know lots of things are popping, lots of things are moving, lots of things are shaking down there in Texas. How's the weather there, by the way? I'm curious.
It's nice. It's a little bit kind of cloudy and drizzly today, but yesterday was beautiful. It was nice and sunny and no clouds and not too hot yet, so it's nice. It's nice here in Austin.
Very cool. I want to thank those who emailed in. They know that I live over here in northern San Diego, and we got hit by some fires of late. Everybody's okay. We did have to close our clinic for a day because some of the staff actually work in that area that was being evacuated. But everybody's safe, and the weather changed quite a bit. So it's actually full 60s and 70s right now. So it's very helpful. That was a bit scary. I've been through a few wildfires in my time, and they are not fun. So, it was a bit crazy, but things are back to normal. And I hope everything is well where you're at. Today we got a fun show that we're going to be putting together. We're covering our top 6 books that we recommend every entrepreneur should read, or at least books that have influenced us in terms of building our business. And, of course, there are books, spiritually wise, like the Bible, of course, and that have influenced me personally. But in terms of building your own business, these are some of the top resources that I recommend everybody should read, and I think you'll be a better person for it. So, Eric, why don't you start it off? What's your book that you recommend every entrepreneur should read?
Well, I got a few. The one book that I'm going to recommend first is got to be the book that really changed my life. And, this book it really changed my life twice, really well. And it's not really a business kind of book, I guess, but a lot of people who are in business and are looking to achieve wealth and success and get rich and all that, this book for me really, really changed my whole paradigm. But it's The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles. That book changed me. And here's kind of a couple of the big takeaways from the book, why it changed me, is the whole mindset side of things. See, the way my mind worked, and still does, I have to work on this all the time, is I'd have all these thoughts, these opposing thoughts. So let's say I wanted to start my own business. And let's say I was going to start a landscaping company, because they're doing the landscaping out in the front yard right now. I had to walk to the other side of the house. But let's say I was going to start a landscaping company. And this is a great idea. And I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and it's going to be so awesome. I'm going to have all these different business accounts, and it's going to make me a ton of money. It's going to be a blast. Well, then all of a sudden these other thoughts start to creep in, right? After you have the idea and you get excited about it, then you start maybe even taking some action to get the business going. You start having these other thoughts, these opposing thoughts, like, well, what if this? Well, I don't really want to spend all my time cutting grass. What if I get bit by a snake? And then there's ants and there's bees and there's, and all these thoughts start coming in, right? Well, the Science of Getting Rich taught me that you should expect what it is that you want. You should attract what it is that you want. And then you should have, nothing but great thoughts about, that. Don't let the negative thoughts come in and and kill the momentum or the direction that you're looking to go. So that was one of the big takeaways from the Science of Getting Rich, and there are many. But I started changing the way I thought. I started following the Science of Getting Rich. I started believing that, there's this, if I start focusing on what it is I want and start expecting, which is a big word, expecting what I want, then all these opportunities would come. I'd vibrate at this frequency and all this stuff. I started believing that and following what the Science of Getting Rich taught to do, and I studied it all the time. And I'm like, I'm going to do this. I have nothing to lose, so I wasn't doing too well at that time. And the next thing you know, my whole life turned around, and it just exploded in the proper direction. And then I got complacent with that for a while, that nice new lifestyle that I was living. And then about 4 or 5 years later, I experienced a crash in business. And then, I was kind of wallowing in that, wounded, defeated life that I was experiencing then, now that I had lost everything. And eventually I found myself in the middle of the night not being able to sleep because I was just so stressed out that I went to the couch in my house and sat down and went and got the Science of Getting Rich. I went through my books. This was when I had tons of books before I started doing Kindle and all that. I went and got the Science of Getting Rich book, and I went and sat down on the couch, and I read the whole thing. I was all into it, and it did it again. It changed my life. I started living it again, and it just boosted my entire life. So for me, that book is very special. So that's my first book to recommend.
Powerful stuff. I appreciate that. I also like, it's great that one book, really helped change your mindset. For me, I read a lot of books. I read a lot of self-help books, business books, anything I can do to get an edge on it. I listen to audio tapes and audiobooks. But one I keep going back to is written by a guy named Michael Masterson, not his real name, but it's a book called The Ready, Fire, Aim. And it basically breaks down, if you're in the information business, you sell content or either through books or ebooks or courses or coaching, definitely want to pick this one up. And, one aspect, just what the title says, is that it's ready, fire, aim. We think it's ready, aim, fire, right? But the great thing about the internet is you can put something out, and then you might not hit your target market of what you want to do, and it's okay. You can shift or shift your direction of where you want to go to get that customer. If things aren't selling, you could tweak your business a certain way. But if you're in analysis paralysis, which I know a lot of people are, I have students doing this. I know you do too, Eric. They end up like, I'm in a research book. I'm just going to research it. And they ended up, it can take months or years before they actually get the thing off the ground. And I guess one of the maybe quirks of me is I'm just ready to put something out there just to see if it works. If it doesn't, well, you know what? I can do something else. With Thomas Edison, when he invented the light bulb, he said he tried over 100 different ways to perfect the light bulb, and he tried all these different ways. But, they said, well, you're a failure. You tried 90 times or 99 times to get that light bulb to work. He said, you know what? I don't call it a failure. It's just one step closer to success. And I knew at that 100th time I was going to go ahead and do it. Sometimes, again, you just have to put yourself out there. There is no, especially in internet business, you could start launching something, and I've done this too. Put up an ad, but maybe buy some ads on Facebook, get the product out, and then just set up something that's coming soon on there, just to gauge, collect people's email address, letting them know that this is coming. If you get a response, great. If you don't, well, then you can try something different or put it on the back burner, or come again another time, see what does work. So Ready, Fire, Aim by Michael Masterson. Pick that one up. Eric, give me your second book.
My second book is a book that a lot of people don't realize even exists, because his first book is world famous, but his first book is Think and Grow Rich, which everyone knows about, or most people know about. But what a lot of people don't know is he has another book that's called Outwitting the Devil. And that book, supposedly, part of the story of the book was that it wasn't released. His wife or something or wouldn't allow him to release the book or talk him out of it or publishers or something. And so the book never got released. And then here recently, I guess 2 years ago or so, it was allowed to be released. And because it's a little bit controversial, I guess. And the book basically is about Napoleon Hill kind of like interviewing the devil and asking the devil all of his secrets of how he, terrorizes the world and how he, how he wins over people and gets them under his command and all this stuff, right? And so what I recommend is not reading the book, but getting the audio book if possible, because there's three different voices. There's the narrator, who's a lady, who co-authored the book or published it or something. Then there's the interviewer, which I guess is supposed to be Napoleon Hill. And then there's the devil, and the devil's voice in the audio book is like a deep voice, and it's kind of intimidating. It's really, really quite interesting. So when you listen to the audio book, it's fun to listen to, and you kind of get into it. But the audio book is great to me because it really reveals one of the secrets of success, and it just drills it home. And it's this. It's that you gotta really get into the book, but this is kind of the gist of what the big, huge takeaway for me was. That most people in life just kind of drift through life. And that's where the devil comes in and gets you, according to the book. And so, the book is kind of tongue-in-cheek with the whole devil thing, but it's interesting because he says, where I'm able to get people and allow them to, live this certain, life that's not their dreams and stuff is because of these different feelings and stuff that they go through, like disappointment and frustration. So if someone experiences failure and frustration, well, then I got it. Because then they start getting jaded and they complain about everything and give up. So then, so the big part of that is drifting. Drifting is a big problem in success because people just kind of show up and react and just kind of float through life. And that's not the way to be successful. The way to be successful is have your primary aim, your definite major purpose, and then just go for it. And when you do that, then the devil can't get you. And you're living this life of on-purpose lifestyle or this on-purpose life, and everything just works great for you, and you're in this completely different realm than the rest of the planet who's mostly just drifting through life, reacting, just taking whatever life gives them, just accepting it. And, the old sayings, people live lives of quiet desperation and the herd mentality and lack mentality and, just on and on and on. All those different philosophies of why some people succeed and other people don't succeed kind of gets wrapped up into one nice little package with a bow put on top of it, which is if you drift through life and you just kind of drift through your business and just kind of react and go through the motions and just kind of get through your days and you're kind of in this lackadaisical, nonchalant type of mindset about your dreams and goals, then you're kind of just surviving and reacting and drifting, as opposed to really going for what it is that you want, making plans, sitting down and thinking creatively, focusing on thriving instead of surviving. And so it's just really, the book did a really good job of kind of pulling all that together and making you realize that the real difference is sitting down and deciding and committing to what it is that you want to achieve and then just going for it full steam and realizing you're going to have adversities and challenges and problems. We all do, but if you're able to overcome those problems, then you're going to succeed.
Yeah,
so
that's book number 2. Actually, I actually picked it up based on your recommendation, and I listened to the audiobook over the winter time, and I think we all have drifters that we know in life, and we've probably been guilty of that ourselves, just going week to week on there. A lot of people do that, but it's the entrepreneurs, it's the people who help create jobs, the people who and do those kinds of things. That's what you need to avoid. But if you drift, then you're in the claws of the devil, so to speak. It was pretty interesting. Napoleon Hill had some interesting thoughts on education, which I think was one of the reasons to why it was not released. But great choice. My pick is I love biographies, business biographies, and seeing and reading about successful businesses and what they've done to get there. My next two are based upon successful businessmen, hearing their thoughts on how they got rich. And interestingly enough, my next book is How to Get Rich. I know I'm just blanking out on the author's name. Felix Dennis. Felix Dennis, How to Get Rich. He helped start up magazines, the magazine Magnet in the UK, and he developed his business, multi-millionaire, and he does not mince words in terms of what you need to become a successful businessman. There are some things that I disagree with. He feels that if you become a multi-millionaire or powerful, that you're going to become an arrogant bastard on there, and you're going to step on some people along the way on that to get what you really want to do. And if you're committed to doing this, he tells you what you need to avoid. There are a lot of nuggets about, basically things that he sacrificed to get him where he was. And I think there are lessons to be learned for entrepreneurs who are listening here. And maybe you're not going to incorporate everything that he does, but you could definitely see someone who has, burnt some bridges, had bridges burnt on himself, and still managed to be crazy, insanely successful. So, How to Get Rich by Felix Dennis. Eric, give me your last book that you recommend every entrepreneur should read.
Oh, man, what a tough one, because I'm sitting here with two books on my mind. You're going to only allow me to give one more? Man, that's a tough call, because there's two more books.
Okay, I'll give you 3A and 3B. How about that? But you got to make it quick.
Okay. Awesome. Well, one of them is helped me a lot. Again, this isn't going to be for everybody. This one might be a little controversial for the politically correct out there in the world. But for me, this book at the time also really changed my life. And just for my own personal mindset about getting rich. So, like, if I talked about getting rich, I mean, like, really getting rich, then some people get really uncomfortable about that, right? They don't like the idea of me talking about getting rich, lots of money. Well, you know what? I used to have that problem. Like, I really wanted to be successful and rich, but I kind of had this feeling inside me that it was bad to be rich. For whatever reason, I didn't know what the reason was, but I guess it was from conditioning as a child or something. And so this book is called The Prayer of Jabez, or the Jabez Prayer. And in that book it said that it was okay to be successful, that you could ask God to be successful and all that, and that He wants you to experience all the great things that life has to offer, the finest clothes and the best houses and best vacations, and see the world and see all the beauty. And that changed my whole life. So that was a book, because I started looking at it completely different than I had before. And then the last book, which is 3B, would be 10X by Grant Cardone. Great book. And the audio book, again, I recommend the one that he narrates himself, because he has a really unique way of talking. And, like he says, dude and man and all that. And at first you kind of might want to discount him off because of the way he talks. But when you really get into it, you're like, man, this guy knows what he's talking about. And what that book did for me is it really helped me charge. And I got this book recently, so it's not an older book to change my life. It's a new book that's changed my life, which is a book that got me to go 10 times more than what I would usually do. So, like, if I decided I was going to go, like, do media buys for my business to get traffic online, then 10X it, go 10 times more than what I expected to do. If I was going to try to generate $1 million a year in my business, go for $10 million a year, 10X it, and he explains in the whole book why this is important and why this happens and how you should really throw yourself out there and be omnipresent, be everywhere. Your business be everywhere, and just 10X everything. You're going to get haters and trolls and people that hate you. Well, 10X them. Get 10 times more haters, because it means you're doing the right things. So the book really is motivational to just go out there and really, take charge and really kick butt and make big things happen. So that was the other book, so 10B.
3B. Great stuff. And again, it's hard to limit to just 3 books. Before I give my last one, I'll throw, some others that didn't quite make the list. The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. The Cash Flow Quadrant by Rob Kiyosaki, really about understanding the importance of entrepreneurship, being an entrepreneur. Crush by Gary Vaynerchuk. But the last one that I want to leave with you guys, you got to pick up, is, again, I'm a pragmatist. I'm a realist. And, a lot of business books, a lot of people read business books because they just feel like if they read the book, then somehow through osmosis they'll become successful. And a lot of business books, are out there because they know that, and they just want to, if they have some catchphrases on there, that it'll sell, and they don't really give any meat to the book itself. They talk in theory and they talk in platitudes and nothing really concrete. But until I read business books were like this, until I read M.J. DeMarco's The Millionaire Fast Lane that came out a few years ago. This is a gentleman who launched a limos.com, which was a limousine website, one of the biggest websites out there. It was a lead-generated website, and it was basically understanding the importance of wealth. He gives his thoughts on, why are you doing this? A lot on mindset about, increasing your own worth in terms of why people, how some people can make, minimum wage or barely minimum wage, and what's the difference between that and an NBA athlete? Is because the NBA athlete, who makes like $200,000 an hour or something crazy like that, like Kobe Bryant, is because he has a certain special skills. Certain set of skills, as Liam Neeson said in Taken. And for you to increase your own worth, and for you to increase your own pay raise, you need to increase your own self-worth, and not only self-worth for yourself, but of your business, and putting yourself into a unique position to do that. He goes through, again, it's a great read. Definitely pick it up. It'll open your eyes on what's possible and why are we all doing this, why are you becoming an entrepreneur, and the importance of doing that. So those are our books. What are your books? Feel free to drop us a line. Check out our website out. Contact us on the website, internetincomeshow.com. You can also leave a voicemail on the website. I'd love to hear the books that changed you or you would recommend to our fellow listeners. Eric, any final thoughts before we end the call today?
No, just that was a fun call, man. I love thinking about the books that really shape us and kind of help us to find the nuggets and areas that we can grasp hold of and use to pursue our dreams and our goals. It's like these books are for me have been like my mastermind. My go-to people to keep me going, because business, is a journey, and sometimes you have adversities that knock you down, and you can use these to get back up, or sometimes you kind of find yourself a little bit complacent, and you can use them to charge you up to get to the next level, or maybe you're just kind of lost and you need to kind of find some clarity. And so all the books are great because, man, they just really provide you with the nuggets and information. So always, I guess the final comment is just to always continue to keep investing in yourself like that, because most of the world doesn't. They stop learning when high school or college is done. And, life is always about growth and learning and becoming more. Jim Rohn says if you want more, you got to become more. So there you go.
Yeah, great. And I'll share with you a final thought. I've had the privilege of calling some pretty wealthy people, some of my friends, and I'm going to, happen to go into their library in their house. And they've got the same books that we just talked about. They've got Dan Kennedy's book. They've got Robert Kiyosaki's book. And they've got, Think and Grow Rich. And you think that things have changed. They're like, why would they need that? And they'll say the same thing. They've helped me get to a journey of where I wanted to be. And I'm still on that journey. It's like, what? You're making 8 figures a year. He says, you know what? You can always learn. You can always push yourself. You can always learn more. So that being said, thanks, guys, for joining us on another episode of the Internet Income Show. Until next time, keep moving forward.
You just listened to the Internet Income Show with Dr. Mike and Eric. Now, get to work.